It has only taken literally a year of posting on this channel for me to realise that I have not done a Q&A. You may be a new subscriber literally from today, you may have been with me from basically day one of my journey on this channel, but regardless, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and let's get to know a little bit more about me. I'm Jessie of Crochet by Jessie, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, and let's get into today's Q&A. So in front of me, I have all of the questions that were asked. I put out a few stories, posts, that kind of thing on my TikTok, Instagram, and on my channel here. And these are all of the questions I got. So let's go through them one by one. The first question is the only one that I had on YouTube, which is fair enough because I did a random post for it. I'm still getting used to like that aspect of the channel, but I'm glad that I did it because I got my first question. So it was wondering if I could do a granny square skull. Yeah, I definitely can do that. I will probably leave that until a little bit later in the year just because I feel like I want it to be a little bit closer to Halloween, but I can definitely do that, and I would love to do that because I can make some really, really fun designs with it. As well as a skull, maybe I'll try and figure out a pumpkin, something like that, maybe even a black cat in honor of this little one who's still making her biscuits next to me. But yeah, I'm definitely going to work on that this year, but towards the end of this year. Moving on to the questions that were asked on my TikTok, we have, what's your favourite project you've done so far? So, ironically, I feel like my favourite project that I have done is actually the one that I'm currently working on. That's definitely up there because it's a slightly more complicated mosaic crochet design, definitely the most complicated that I've designed myself. So I'm really enjoying it, and because it's spring themed, it's very fitting for this time of year. I'll put a photo up here of my progress so you guys can just see where I'm at currently at the time of filming. And yeah, I love that so much. But if I had some other designs to say, or just patterns overall or projects overall, I would probably say these two Halloween blankets that I've done. The black hat one literally just came out recently, and then my haunted Halloween blanket has been out for, goodness, it's been at least a year. I think it was a year last Halloween just gone. But yeah, I absolutely love these projects and I feel like they're very, very rewarding. So even though they take ages, they're definitely my favorites. My next question is, what was the longest time a project took you, including the amount of time it stood as a whip? Oh, that's gonna be it. There are gonna be some long ones, and I know it's probably not as long as other people, but it depends on if we're talking about finished projects or projects that are still standing as a whip that I have genuinely neglected for a very long time. If that is the case, then you guys are gonna judge me so much for this. If we're referring to a whip that I have completed, so the project itself now is done, then I would probably say about 7 months, which even then is like quite a while for me. That one, that's my black kitty blanket pattern that I did release fairly recently. And initially it was going to be a Halloween pattern, but then I got ill and then Christmas came, and then I just didn't want to start it right after Christmas. So yeah, I started working on it again a few weeks ago, which is really bad. However, if we're talking about a project that's still outstanding, that has been left as a whip for a really long time, it gets a lot worse than that. So this goes all the way back to lockdown 2020. Yeah, you heard me right, 2020. And this project that I started was actually the first project that I ever started that got me into mosaic crochet. And it was Tina's beautiful queen cowl, I believe. And yeah, I found the pattern for the first time. I started to mosaic crochet, and then partway through it, I just thought, I want to design my own ones. I don't want to do another person's pattern. So it's still incomplete. I used the rest of the yarn for other projects, so I have no more yarn for it. I didn't frog it. It's about that thick of a blanket going all the way across. Yeah, so will I ever finish it? No. Will I ever undo it? I kind of don't want to, because it was my first ever mosaic crochet attempt, so I kind of want to keep it, but that's really bad. But yeah, that's my longest standing project / whip, which I know I will never finish. Okay, the next question is colour combo for next project. Ooh, so, I mean, my colour combo for my current project that I'm working on is cream, sage green, a mustardy yellow, a deep pink, a baby pink, and a really nice medium kind of brown colour. But for my next project, I've got I've got a series of different ideas and I never know which one I'm going to end up following because I'm not really that methodical of a crocheter. I kind of enjoy the chaos unless it embraced me with my projects. So I've got a bunch of really pretty yarn from Hobby, and it was a project that I started but literally did 2 rows of because I ended up getting distracted, and that was loads of really nice tealy turquoisey kind of colours. So that's one I might do. But apart from that, I'm not really sure, and I have a feeling I'm probably going to be crazy and end up just making something else anyway. And I have so many whips on the go at the moment, so I couldn't even tell you all of the colour combos for them. I'm really exposing myself for this Q&A, aren't I? Yeah, I'm not as organised as I appear online, guys. Okay, next question is, what do you think the next star blanket crochet trend will be? That is such a good question, and I'm really unsure. I feel like there might be a difference between what I think it would be and what I would like it to be, because ideally I'd say make it mosaic crochet because that's the thing that I love, and I feel like still so many people aren't aware of it. But yeah, that's such a tough one. So this is going to be quite a vague answer, but I feel like some sort of tote bag. I myself have always loved tote bags, and I've made like lots of different variations, and I'll get a few images of them up now. But yeah, I feel like I'm seeing more and more people making like crochet tote bags and lots of different kind of versions of them. And as we're getting into the spring and summer months, I feel like there's a very big chance that there might be like a new specific design that will end up going viral, and then everyone will want a variation of that kind of bag. That's my prediction. The next question is, how did you get into crochet? And I love telling people how I got into crochet because yeah, I feel like it's just an awesome little origin story for where crochet first started in my life and just how important it is to me now. So I was first introduced to crochet by my nan when I was 7, and apparently I was a pain at the time, but to be fair, what 7-year-old isn't going to be a pain when they're learning something like crochet? But yeah, I first learnt when I was 7. Because of that, unfortunately, I don't actually have a lot of like the first stitch attempts that I ever did, because I mean, 7-year-old me was by no means going to save them, and I don't think any of my family were planning to save it because I don't think they thought I would kind of stick to it as much as I have now. But yeah, my nan taught me when I was 7. I did a lot of crochet for a little while when I was younger, and then when school and exams and all that kind of stuff took over, I put it in the back burner, and to be honest, I left it untouched for quite a long time. And then 2020 hit, lockdown hit, and one of my resolutions for lockdown was to get back into crochet, and I have not stopped crocheting ever since. And yeah, so that's one positive that I got from lockdown, is it brought me back to crochet, and now I literally crochet every single day. I design patterns, I post YouTube videos about crochet. So yeah, that's how I started out crocheting. My next question, and I had a feeling I would get a question like this, is how many star blankets are completed? So if you follow me, especially on TikTok, you will see as well, considering there's one on either side of me, that I have made quite a lot of the 6-day star blanket, which is a design by Betty McKnit. It became my fixation design that I just enjoyed following because I could get a little bit mindless as I was doing it. And I've tried to figure it out through my head, so I'm going to just put a bunch of images of all of the different ones I've done and some videos around me as I say this. But I think finished designs of, well, the finished versions of the blanket, I think I've finished 11. I know that's a lot. And I think I've got 2 on the go currently, which are kind of like a slight untouched whip that I've not really done in a little while. But yeah, 11 are done and 2 are on the go. The last time I properly counted, I might be missing some. I hope I'm not, for my sake, but I think it's about that. The next question is, what's your favorite yarn brand? And honestly, at the moment, I would say I'm really into Hobbies yarn. I'd say my favorite yarn from them in particular is the Tea Time yarn. I've used it for ironically, two of my 6-day star blankets, and then I have some more colorways in my yarn stash at the moment, and I'm just trying to think of the right project for them because I got it when they were on sale. I love the yarn so much. It's acrylic, but for me it feels nicer than standard acrylic. Not dissing acrylic at all because I love acrylic, but it feels posher, if you get what I mean. And I really like the colorways, how it transitions, all of that. So for me, it's like the ideal yarn, and Hobby yarn overall, I really, really love the quality of it. I've just realized that I've had 2 questions asking what my favorite yarn brand is, so I'm not going to say it again, but I just answered it 2 seconds ago. But thank you both for asking the same question because I really like that question. Okay, the next question is, what was your least favorite project? I would say any attempt of making a plushie / amigurumi, because I have not got a knack for it. So far in my experience, I have not enjoyed it. And although it's on my bucket list of a project that I want to do someday, at the moment, I can't say I have any joy in doing them, which sounds really bad, but unfortunately, when I'm not great at something, I kind of grow to resent it a little bit, which I know is awful, but that's just how I am with stuff. So yeah, amigurumi / plushies are currently my least favorite project, but maybe that will change one day. We'll see. The next question is, what's a project you're desperate to make? Ironically, plushies and amigurumis, but I feel like I want to make it and enjoy it, so I feel like I'm desperate to make it, but it's not going to be something I make anytime soon, but it's one that I'm like, I really want to make. So if I'm being a bit more realistic of ones that I'm desperate to make and that I will try to make soon, I have a few designs in my mind pattern wise that I really want to create, and it's all mosaic crochet related, but I have 3 designs in mind. I'd love to do something with like a horoscope blanket because I feel like that'd be quite fun, and I've not really done anything like that before. I also want to make an optical illusion blanket because I feel like that would be crazy and really faffy, but such a nice finish. So that's another one that I want to do. And then the final one is I want to do some kind of underwater ocean mosaic crochet blanket as well. So keep an eye out because some point I will get around to doing them. Oh, I love this next question. It was, what was your first ever crochet project? So obviously I learned when I was 7, but I was not remotely talented enough to actually make anything when I was 7. It was just a lot of squares that got lost and were probably very deformed at the time. But my first ever project that I properly finished, and this was before COVID, but in that weird span in between where I crocheted a bit, but not much. My partner was going away to uni and I wanted to make him a blanket. So it was the first project I'd ever completed. It took me at least 6 months to do, and it was a giant granny square blanket, and I'll try and find some photos of it now if I can. What's actually quite funny is that project is 1000% upstairs in my wardrobe currently, because my partner went to uni in 2018, and then when COVID hit, he moved in with my family and I and has been here ever since. So yeah, it's definitely somewhere at the back of my wardrobe. I'm always going to keep a hold of it because it was the first thing that I ever made him, as well as being my first ever full project. And genuinely, I feel like if I wasn't making it for him, I would never have fully finished it. And from that point onwards, that's helped encourage me to actually finish my projects. For the most part, I will admit. But yeah, I really enjoyed that as a first project. The next question is a 2-parter, which I absolutely love. So the first one is, how did you find mosaic crochet? So I found mosaic crochet during lockdown / the next few months after that, I would say. And initially it was just looking at tutorials on YouTube and trying to figure out what I wanted to crochet, all that kind of stuff, as I was really getting back into it and getting better with crochet. And I came across one of Tina's videos and I just thought, what is this form of crochet and how have I never found it before? And from that point, I was absolutely obsessed. And I would say I definitely spend the majority of my time on mosaic crochet projects. You wouldn't think it with the amount of star blankets I do, but these work up relatively quickly in comparison to mosaic crochet blankets, which take time. So actually time-wise, I spend more time on mosaic crochet, especially because I'm designing patterns and whatnot. But actual project count, I definitely have more projects that are not mosaic crochet, but only because they take a lot less time to do. The second part to this question, which I absolutely love, is what shampoo do you use because your hair is so nice? First of all, thank you. The shampoo I use, this is the moment where I need to remember it. I believe it is a Garnier one. I'm going to put an image of it up here. Yeah, I think it's Garnier, but you'll know now from the image. Yeah, can't recommend that one enough. It's nice and it's inexpensive, which is perfect if you're like me. So that is it for the questions for today's Q&A. I hope you guys have enjoyed this and you know a little bit more about me now. If you guys have any extra questions, then do not hesitate to put them in the comments below and I will happily do a second part Q&A. And yeah, I really enjoy videos like this. It's a lot more chilled, it's a lot more casual and laid back. And if you want to see anything else crochet related, I do anything and everything crochet related on here, honestly, then please do consider subscribing if you're not already, and press the bell to be notified when my next video is up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!